I'm Sumi Somaskanda in Washington, and this is BBC World News America. The first day of a new era at the U.S.-Mexico border. American officials say they saw no major increase in crossings. Others fear the numbers are set to rise. Pakistan's former leader is free on bail in Islamabad. His arrest led to deadly protests. And the fans are out, the stage is set, and the anticipation is building. We have the latest on the Eurovision Song Contest from Liverpool. Welcome to World News America on PBS and around the globe. We start tonight at the border of the United States and Mexico, and concerns that there will be a surge of migrants following the expiration of Title 42. That is the measure set in place 3 years ago, which allowed U.S. authorities to refuse people entry over COVID concerns. But with the end of the health emergency here in the U.S., Title 42 has now expired. Border states have warned that its expiration will draw a surge of tens of thousands of migrants to the U.S.-Mexico border, straining local communities and intensifying political divisions. U.S. officials said on Friday they, quote, did not see a substantial increase in migrant crossings today, but many have pointed out that this is only the start of a new reality at the border, not the end. And our correspondent Sophie Long is in El Paso for us, joining us with the latest. Sophie, it's good to see you. We mentioned there that Customs and Border Protection have said they did not see a substantial increase today. What have you been seeing there in El Paso? Sophie Long for us there in El Paso. Thank you so much. Earlier, I spoke to Marta Constanzo Youth, Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Bureau of Population, Refugees and Migration at the U.S. State Department. And we discussed the U.S.'s partnerships in Central and South America to try and address migration flows. Marta, welcome to BBC News. Thank you very much for joining us. I want to start by asking you about what President Biden has said. Also, Border Patrol authorities have told the BBC. They have said that the lifting of Title 42 will mean more chaos at the border. And right now, there are, of course, tens of thousands of people waiting to cross into the U.S. Is the State Department concerned about the situation at the border? Marta, thank you very much for joining us on BBC News.
Thanks so much, Sumi.
A former U.S. Marine who placed a New York subway passenger in a fatal chokehold has been charged with manslaughter. Daniel Penny is accused of causing the death of Jordan Neely on a New York subway car last week. His lawyer said he could not have known his actions to subdue Mr. Neely would lead to his death. Lawyers for Jordan Neely's family held a news conference and said Penny should have been charged with murder. Nada Tawfiq reporting there from New York. There's been more fighting in Sudan, despite the country's rival military faction signing a, quote, humanitarian deal that they claim will help protect civilians. Fighter aircraft have again been in action over the capital Khartoum with reports of loud explosions. Sudan's rival leaders are former allies, the head of the army, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and the paramilitary commander, Mohammed Hamdan Daglo. Now they're fighting each other for control of the country. Our correspondent Barbara Platt-Usher reports. Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan has been released on bail following his arrest on corruption charges. His detention on Tuesday led to violent protests by his supporters. At least 10 people were killed. And our reporter Caroline Davies is in Islamabad standing by for us there. Caroline, it's good to see you. You were at the courthouse earlier today. Tell us what you saw, what you witnessed there. Caroline Davies reporting there from Islamabad. Good to talk to you. Two major elections are taking place this weekend, which could shape the direction of nations and entire regions. In a moment, we'll go to Turkey ahead of their vote on Sunday. But first, political parties in Thailand have been making a last push for support ahead of a vote that could see the military-led government lose. Right now, Paetong Tan Shinawat, the 36-year-old leader of the main opposition party, is ahead in the polls. But there are fears the military could seek to cling on to power, despite assurances from the current army chief there would be no intervention this time. And in Turkey, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has been trying to rally his base ahead of the vote. Opinion polls show that his challenger, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, has a slight advantage and is within a whisker of breaking the 50% threshold needed to avoid a runoff on May 28th. Selin Girit is in Istanbul with more. Selin Girit reporting for us there. Let's turn now to the ongoing upheaval at Twitter. And Elon Musk has named advertising executive Linda Yaccarino as the new CEO of the company. Mr. Musk tweeted that she will focus primarily on business operations, while he focuses on product design and new technology. She is expected to start working in 6 weeks. Ms. Yaccarino has been the head of advertising sales at the media company NBC Universal. Now, music lovers around the world are counting down to the grand finale of the Eurovision Song Contest, taking place in Liverpool on Saturday night. The city itself is bursting at the seams in a riot of color and camaraderie, celebration and song. More than 160 million people tuned in to last year's final. It's called Eurovision, but it is truly a global event. For the first time this year, Americans will be able to vote for their favorites. Australia first competed in 2015, and it is wildly popular there. This family made the trip to Liverpool just to take part. Have a listen. By the way, that 160 million viewers we mentioned, that is more than this year's Super Bowl. 113 million people watched that. Now, in the spirit of Eurovision, we've turned on the party lights here in the studio. You may wonder why we have these. Our directors tell me it's one way to test the various lights that we have in here. Then again, it's also a bit of fun that we're having. So if you are planning to watch the Eurovision finale tomorrow night, we do hope you enjoy, and may the best act win. And we wish you, of course, a great weekend. Thank you for watching BBC World News America. Stay with us.
Hello, thanks for joining me. Let's see what the weather's up to across Europe.